Is it not fitting that we go to the final area of the Convergence of snowfields during Christmas time and the end of the year? Well, it's blazing hot in Australia, so I think I'll take this frosty field any day. Put on your snow boots and toasty mittens and get ready to brave the snowfields. Let's talk a bit about our final Disaster form, our Ultra Convergence Castform Evo, as I talk about the Snowfields Challenge. The snowfields are covered in bitter cold, and much like the Glaciato Mountains, there's a lot of verticality. Due to the wild weather, the Rotom can't really be summoned here, and so you're gonna have to hoof it. Due to the biting cold, you'll need to employ some Tears of the Kingdom style thinking as you go along. There's a Pokemon we'll cover in a bit that you can use to survive this cold, but also sticking to warmer caves around the area, and having fire types to make sure that your coldometer doesn't drop to dangerous levels. And if that happens, you'll go back to a checkpoint. So it's a race against time itself that you don't black out from the cold. Back to this Arswarm here, there's not a whole lot to speak on, we've talked about it quite a few times now already. This one's just a chill snowboarding dude with a big scarf-like hand. It's totally tubular and shreds that powder, probably laughing at you as you freeze up from the cold. This Arswarm, the wild weather Pokemon, an ice and dark type, evolves from Castform while in the Ultra Convergence, or when exposed to an Ultra Stone, snowy form. Castform that find their way into the Ultra Convergence quickly adapt to the wild weather conditions of each biome. This rapidly evolves Castform into its disastrous evolution. This Disaster freezes the air around them and creates snowboard-like constructs, and will use it to skate around enemies while slowly freezing the enemy. It has no mercy for those that cannot fight back. Disaster has the ability Weather Warning, where it changes form depending on the weather, powering up that weather when it transforms as well. Next, let's jump to our helpful Pokemon that provides some warmth here, and an unexpectedly chill guy. Ever since I started the Convergence project, I wanted to have a chill sauna snow monkey, and Annihilape was the perfect example of a Pokemon to use it for. Going from so angry it died to, I guess, just chill, my idea was to combine a few things together. I wanted the snow monkey, but also I wanted it to look a bit like a combo of a steamy sauna as well as a smoldering fire, where instead of those ghostly wisps in its normal form, it's now smokestacks rising up. I wanted most of all for it to look like a bit of a wise elder, a monkey that has a few things to say to you when you meet it. And while it can't talk to you, it's happy to share their warming sauna with you, littered around the snowfields. And there would be groups of Annihilape just happy to let you warm up with them, and just looking at those wise eyes, you'd learn secrets of the universe. I very much like this design, after quite a few reworks and redesigns however. Beast Paradox Annihilape, the sauna Pokemon, a fire and ice type. Found only around the hot springs in the Ultra Snowfields, Annihilape are totally at peace and are so calm and collected, no Pokemon wish to predate upon it. They have a mastery of temperature control, and can create gusty frozen breezes or volcanic conditions if required. Usually they use this just to regulate their hot springs temperatures however. Annihilape in this form has the ability Relaxation, where this Pokemon restores 1/10 of their HP while in snow or harsh sunlight. Before we continue, if you haven't seen the volcanic area video, I suggest watching the first to learn about Scrappat more in depth as we delve into its other snowy form. While a volcanic Scrappat is all about stealing metals and adapting them to their bodies, the Snowfield Scrappats instead love to hunt down the beasties of the area. Like a roving band of ancient cavemen hunters, they'd employ bone weapons and fur pelts to attack anything they want to eat. And that's most things. I'd say these guys would be the main nuisance of the snowfields, being extra fast and just all over the place. You'd be forced into quite a few battles because of it. And even in battle, your coldometer would go down. These guys and their Evos are based on the sort of Yeti-like beasties from the beta designs shown here. I think it works for a little grumpy gremlin, wombat, rat, wolf thing. Scrappat Ice form, the scavenger Pokemon, an Ice and Psychic type. Found exclusively within the Ultra Convergence, Scrappat is categorized as a type of Ultra Beast due to its apparent lack of relatives in our world. Scrappat are remarkable Pokemon that utilize their psychic abilities to hunt down the beasts of the ice fields. They'll use every part of them, either to eat or to wear as pelts, and armor to protect against the biting cold. The best parts of the hunt go to the chief of the Scrappat, leading to them having an aggressive and ornate appearance. Scrappat in this form has a new ability called Beast Tamer, which boosts the damage of Claw and Bite moves. Unlike the Volcanic Scrappat that evolve into Magnanimous, the Icey Scrappat evolve into something else. They become almost like Gabumon, gaining the pelt of another Snowfield beastie from a previous video, Beast Dingladius, and becomes this almost werewolf-looking caveman stand-in, who has just this giant sickle-like bone and bone claws in a later version, ready to go full feral on their foes. I go through quite a few changes in some of the designs of the videos. I've had these designs in my gallery for quite some time, so even now I'm constantly updating them ready for when they're finally revealed. I wonder, do you prefer the Volcanic or Icy line of Scrappat more? Do you like Magneto or Wolverine? I honestly just noticed that they have a little bit of an X-Men vibe to both of them, even though I didn't mean to do that at all. Whoops. Aggressive, the leader Pokemon in Ice and Psychic type. When a Scrappat gets a unique trophy from their hunt, it evolves into this form, often breaking away from its village to become the leader of a new group of Scrappat. Wearing the cloak of Beast Dingladius, they are incredibly aggressive and rule their territories with an iron fist, and push out anything that's not from their evolutionary line. Aggressive and Magnanimous do not get along if brought close to each other, bickering endlessly despite the fact that they both evolved from a common Pokemon. Aggressive has the ability Beast Tamer. Let's cover our Beast Paradox starter that each area has this time, a bit of an underrated starter in Meganium. I think the Snowdrop is such a beautiful flower and it reminded me a bit of the long neck of Meganium. I wanted this one to be a bit of a calm, almost like cattle Pokemon found in the snowfields. Very abundant and usually predated on by the Pokemon here. The general silhouette was made to be that it was like a snowdrop plant emerging from the snow itself, but also looking a little bit like a fancy woman wearing a bonnet, just overall a very debutante creature. Fun fact about this one, I was watching someone play through Viva Pinata when trying to think of an idea for beast starters, and that's when I saw someone planting snowdrops, and it kind of instantly made me think of Meganium. Even when I'm thinking of creature collecting designs and watching videos of someone else playing creature collecting games, I'm not obsessed with the genre, okay? Meganium Beast Paradox form, the Snowdrop Pokemon are Grass and Ice type. While not particularly dangerous, Meganium in this form is thrived in the Ultra Snowfields, and their distinct appearance is actually camouflage, with the massive flowers that grow around the snowfields. Meganium are incredibly calm and can be interacted with and pose no threat. They'll even take in other Pokemon and take care of them as if part of the family. Meganium in this form has the Ultra ability Snowcloak, and if you haven't seen previous videos, Ultra abilities are just abilities that can't be changed no matter what, even when switching back to their regular forms. And we continue the parallels between the volcano and snowfields with a little fella. Before, Snom became a fiery little pus moth larva, and filled with volcanic rage. So let's cover our fiery little sun moth larvae with Larvesta, who takes on a bit of a controversial form. I wanted to make this one be a bit more of a sort of esoteric depiction of the ice type. The silhouette of Larvesta made me think of sort of like the shape of the common cold sort of microbe thing. It's weird, I know, but I thought, cold kind of works. So this Larvesta is this just large creature standing quite tall and scary, and now instead of those little spiky nubbins that stick out, they warp, becoming weird and sort of glowing, and now they expel an aura of sickness and giving it the ice and poison type, to coincide with our fire poison type Snom. To make Larvesta look as much like the common cold particle, I gave the legs a very similar design to the horns. Again, it's a very weird and esoteric design, but it's also kind of weirdly cute in a way. And I do love the idea of our two little fellas just being these unstoppable forces of anger and pestilence. Larvesta, Beast Paradox form, the viral Pokemon are Poison and Ice type. Larvesta adapted to the Ultra Convergence by producing a horrible and sickening aura from the horns around its body. This lowers the target's resistance to viruses, and quickly can cause infections and other horrid diseases. It thrives in the snowfields and large groups of them regularly travel around, as no Pokemon dares predate upon them. There's no need for Larvesta to evolve for further strength, and so this is where the line ends. Larvesta has the ability Ultra Merciless. So through avoiding the uncommon cold, sharing saunas with giant monkeys, and avoiding ravaging bands of chilly cavemen, we enter a field of frozen statues, leading up to a deep cave, as with big stomps a creature emerges from the cave. Our final draconic beast version of our seasonal guardians is here. Wintrevel is the final of the seasonal guardians, a fun-loving bear that would play with kids and bring joy to everyone. A bit like a giant bear Santa Claus, but in its beast form it changes quite aggressively. I wanted to change up the body types of the 4 dragons, with Wintrevel becoming quadrupedal and a bit like some kind of Monster Hunter brute wyvern, covered in a similar shaggy fur that leads into a tail now. I like to imagine out of all the beast seasonal guardians, this one is the scariest and most dangerous of all the 4. Explains why there's no signs of hibiscus labs setting up around the mountains. Maybe some frozen research equipment here and there, but that's about it. I did change the design ever so slightly, more just clarifying the pose and making it a tad more readable. Wintrevel, Beast Paradox form, the Winter Dragon Pokemon, and Ice and Dragon type. The protector of the Ultra Snowfields is the Beast Paradox form of Wintrevel, which has taken on a shocking change. What was once a calm and kind Pokemon now is incredibly irate, and lives within a large cave surrounded by the frozen corpses of Pokemon as a warning to any who dare go into its lair. Their large fur coat keeps it warm wherever it goes, and helps it when Wintrevel unleashes their bitter frost attacks, capable of freezing even the hottest fire types to solid ice. Wintrevel has a new ability called Frost Force, which boosts the power of ice type moves for this Pokemon and their allies. The battle against Wintrevel would be as harsh as the cold environment. It's in the cave, so you don't have to worry about blacking out from the cold though. Wintrevel doesn't call in any support, it just goes full force on you and would be a tough challenge for anyone, especially after slowly making your way up the mountains. But you managed to put that dragon on ice and win the day. With all the threats defeated in the area, you have access to the lab in the center of the Convergence, and for the final battle ahead. Oh, and you can now go around and catch the beast seasonal guardians around the area. But we aren't done yet, no. While the final battle will be a separate video, I wanted to cover Astara's Mythical in this episode. I wanted something both cute and menacing for the Mythical. I went through many tales looking for something to use, and while many are good, I couldn't think of anything better than Tiddalik, the very thirsty frog. And while we couldn't find them in the Ultra Convergence, I'll talk more about the Pokemon as we create them. This would be a sort of mini-story called The Tale of Tiddalik. You'll be going across Astara, battling a strange giant threat that would be sucking up all the water around the region, jumping between all the different bodies of water. Every time you would defeat Tiddalik, it would revert to this form. Or if you caught it before sucking up all the water, it would be in this little form. Faster and more powerful, but woefully weak in its defensive capabilities. I wanted to have a very cute design heavy Pokemon that gave it almost like a dot painting look to it, with all the water orbs that would expand and contract in its various animations. When it gets angry, those cheeks would puff up with water. Chasing Tiddalik around and trying to avoid a region-wide drought, we would learn the tale of Tiddalik in the past, and that it nearly spelt doom for Astara before only being defeated and slumbering in an unknown place. And now it's returned for round 2, Aquatic Boogaloo. Tiddalik, the water frog Pokemon, a water type. Tiddalik is a strange and rare Pokemon that has many legends behind it. Tiddalik was said to have once drained all the water of Astara, almost ending the life of Stratastara, till Ostalunga stepped in and attacked Tiddalik, watering the land once again. When this greedy Pokemon drinks too much water, it changes form. Surprisingly, this form is categorized as a Beast Paradox form, and its aggressive nature shines through. Tiddalik has a new ability called Greedy Beast. where when in rain or hit by a water type move, this Pokemon transforms into its beast form. When Tiddleek gets enough water into it, it takes on a Beast Paradox form. That's right, Tiddleek can switch forms on the fly. I wanted this massive and chonkerous boy that instead of being rather devoid of water, now all it is this dripping and almost darker looking water, which also gives it the dark type. I wanted it to have a bit of a Petrarant thing to it, giving anyone who samples some of the water from Tiddleek to become depressed and aggressive. Maybe not doing the mochi dance, but definitely wanting to battle you as you travel the region on your Tiddleek tour. The final battle would happen on the Tasmania stand-in island of the Battle Festival, which is in tatters due to a massive and engorged Tiddleek, larger than what you'd have when you actually catch it. Maybe even buffed a little bit from all the water it's taken on. But you've taken on so many opponents you aren't scared of some oversized frog. And with one last battle, Tiddleek left weakened as all the water from it goes pouring back to where it needs to be, you can now catch the creature and put an end to the tale of Tiddleek. Tiddleek Beast Paradox form the sated Pokemon, a water and dark type. Once enough water is taken in by Tiddleek, it becomes its terrifying Beast Paradox form, till it becomes thirsty again. The water that drips off it causes anyone who drinks it to become mean-spirited and aggressive. While this happens, Tiddleek will steal even more water in the chaos. If it needs to fight, it will throw around its massive weight and crush all who stand in the way of its water. Even the entrusted Pokemon are seen as saints compared to Tiddleek. Tiddleek in this form has a new ability called Water Orb, which prevents rain and water type moves for 3 turns from any Pokemon other than Tiddleek. Then, it transforms back to its regular form after those 3 turns. With the Pokemon of the Convergence recorded, defeated, and even a mythical court, we're ready for our final battle. But who or what will be the final battle? I can guarantee you that whatever you think will show up is not what's gonna happen. Make sure to like and subscribe to help in the battle, as well as comment below your thoughts on the designs in the video, and what you think will be the final battle. Alright, let's finish this. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
I told you we needed more glitter.